All right, traders, let's get into it. Let's look at the markets. I just got back from touching grass, which we're going to talk about. Totally optional for me to look at it, but I'm going to do it today because I want to, because I have a little bit of time. It's fun. It's fun when it's a small part of your life instead of everything, and also for the education of helping you guys live better lives and have businesses and jobs and families and not stare at the charts all the time and also have ways of making money. So, the first thing I noticed is that I'm no longer in ETH. I got stopped out. And I got stopped out at a pretty large winner here. So you can see I'm not floating as much P&L. My equity's around 104,000. All good, but I bagged like 6R on this ETH. So I'm gonna give you the basics of the system just so you know what it is. There's advanced rules and I have indicator coming, but the yellow lines I have on the chart are monthly highs and lows. And my favorite and the most opportunity is buying an old monthly low coming in. So that was the buy here. And then the second one is buying a breakout of an old monthly high, which I do not like nearly as much, but I'll still do it. So I bought preemptively, but essentially that was stopped out around break even. I could have been a buyer here with a stop at the low of this candle, and we've rejected at this monthly high. With my system, we almost never short investment assets, but this is a reason to get out. So I'm fine being out. What I would be looking for a re-entry would be actually holding at a new high of the year. I would buy there with a stop at the low of that. Or if price bleeds down, wait for price to take out a low and start to move back up again. So for now, I'm out of ETH. Obviously, there was some news. I don't need to know what that news was. Bitcoin, I'm still in Bitcoin. Um, haven't been stopped out. I have a bit of break even locked in. Bitcoin hasn't been as dynamic as ETH. Also, I bought this one a day late because I was doing something else on that Thursday, and this system doesn't require me to be looking all the time. So again, I I did a couple add-ons here which were rogue. I shouldn't have done them, but may or may not work out. The second one's break even. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just 1% risk. But what I'm looking is a signal at the all-time high. I would like to see, obviously you want to see it when you're long. I want to see price hold above these. But even if price nicks this, then I get to advance my stop. So I'm waiting for that. Or I would wait for price to come down and take out the May low, or price to go sideways in June and then take out the June low in July. But it's the summer's usually slow. So look at the stock market. US 100 was interesting. The futures was way green overnight and then it dumped in the actual trading. I'm concerned. You can see I have 5R locked in already. And I'm running at 7.5R. And I'm not too concerned. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out, but I'm going to allow it to run for the potential of um, higher. I mean, it's not an exit signal yet, so we're just going to let our stop do the thing. The US 2000, bigger red day. My stop is very far away here. I'm still floating 2.5R, almost about 3R on this. Yeah, about 3R on this from initial risk. It didn't, according to my system, have an opportunity to advance my stop on this one yet. I'm looking to take the yearly high, at which point I can add and advance my stop. For these though, it would have been nice to do an initial add-on um, on the first day of these, but it's okay. So US 500, not quite stopped out, might be stopped out on this one. Looking for it to hold all-time high, might reject. If it rejects and I get stopped out, then I'm flat on this thing. And I gotta wait for it to come all the way down here to be a buyer, or trade sideways and then take out the June low in July, or trade sideways and then take out the May high in June. So that's what I'm looking for, but for now, leave it alone. Let's look at the other indices. I never took US 30 because it rejected at the high, and I didn't really like how it's set up, but I didn't long here, which worked out. Um, and this could have been a warning sign for the other ones, but I'm trading each one individually, independently. So for US 30, I'm not shorting. Okay, I'll give you a little secret. I will short only under the condition we get the signal under the 200 EMA, SMA, which almost never happens. So it didn't even happen on this one, but on US 100, this was our sell signal under the 200 SMA. Um, and I think US 500 had the same one, but that's only happens once in years. US 500 has a sell signal right here and a sell signal right here. But over the 200 SMA, I'm not selling. I'm thinking like I'm an investor. And out of here, I would be looking for it to come all the way back down to be a buyer, or trade sideways, and then it takes the June low in July or the June high in July. I'll would enter in July. So it's May right now. So I'm basically saying probably not going to do anything for months. And I'm going to go touch grass. I'm going to run business, and I'm going to come back and talk about that. EU50 as well. It didn't make it to the all-time high. I was actually long, and I advanced my stop and got stopped out break even. I find it's comforting to advance your stop to break even. It's generally wrong. I mean, for ETH, for instance, ETH, I would have been stopped out break even if I advanced my stop. Instead, I got a nice 5-6R winner out of this. What was it actually? Because I think the second add-on was break even. It was right around here. It was like 5.5R on that. So pretty excellent. The last couple indices we'll look at, the Japanese one has been a little bit weaker. I was expecting the Japanese to be stronger. One of my predictions from this year was a Japanese bubble, and while it had a nice run, it didn't really do as much as I thought. And I passed a bunch of prop challenges with that trade, but yeah, I mean you can see here, you buy the all-time high breakout or the 30-year high breakout and just set your stop under that, and then you're here you can buy, advance your stop. Here you buy, you get stopped out right here, and you never re-enter. So in theory, just following the basic system, you would have gotten stopped out right here, and we would have, uh, yeah, it would have been like a 10R, just following the very basic system. And then actually, there's no re-entry. We've had no re-entry. It took too long to get back over this monthly low. So for the Japanese one, I would be looking to take this out or to break to new all-time highs as a potential signal, or trade sideways and then do that in July again. Australian, Australian, I actually did take this one and I got stopped out. Didn't re-enter. I would have liked to see it take the February low for a cleaner re-entry. And then I would maybe buy an all-time high, but it didn't make an all-time high. It rejected first. Again, no reason to be concerned and take sells. Worst case, we get stopped out of everything and we're flat. And then we're chilling, we're living life, which I'm going to get to in a moment. Total 3. It gave a buy signal on that Saturday with the Iran Israel thing, the dump, both total 3 and total, and most of them haven't been stopped out from there. Bitcoin and ETH did sweep that low, but gave a later buy signal. I don't happen to have longs on the other crypto assets, but it is what it is. Now we have gold. So gold gave a buy signal here, which I took in my live account. I made like $5,000, which I feel fucking stupid about because I closed it here. And if I had to let it run, it would actually have around for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is crazy to say, but it's not the first time that I've had a trade that like, oh, if I just held it, it would have ran for millions, actual millions, which is why I had 50 Bitcoin at 17,000 and a leveraged long, and it never would have stopped me out. So this is why I'm developed the system that I have now that allows you to just sit with the long trades. So for gold, there's a dip buy. Technically, the dip buy would be here, although I bought on that day because I'm an animal. And what happens? Our stop is advanced right here under this breakout. So what would have happened if we had traded this basic system with gold? We would have had 3 positions We would have had a 20R, an 8R, and a 12R. So you do the math. That's a 40R following this basic system. And we would have given -1 to 39R, stopped out right here. So this isn't a sell, a short. It could be if we're under the 20 EMA, SMA. And honestly, this is probably a plus EV short that you could have taken, just failing at this high. Actually, there was no long here because we didn't hold above it anyways. But I just think it's wrong, even if it works, it's wrong to be shorting investment assets because it just sets you up to be on the wrong side. I would rather look for buys down here or buys down here. Although something that we look for gold, I'm going to give you guys another cheat code here. I learned this from Larry Williams. You go to the gold futures and you turn on COT data, commitment of traders data, and you want to buy when the blue line, the commercials, are trending up and when the red line is trending down. So this was a great time to buy right here, right? Why? Because at this point, commercials were going long, this buy point, and this is probably a sell signal, could have been a sell signal. Again, I don't like to do it, but we're at all-time highs rejecting instead of holding. And what do we see? We see commercials have been short for a long time. It's retail mania that's powering this thing. Probably gonna not end well. So silver is something that I'm more willing to short. So let's go take a look at silver futures and see what that said. But I mean, I don't love shorting this thing either because it hasn't moved that much for one. And if you're shorting silver futures, you potentially had a signal here. But that one would have worked. We see silver actually had a nice move up after gold as we saw a rotation of risk into silver. So that's interesting. So that's it. I'm in. We can look. I'm in some I believe I'm in some trades in the bots on Forex. USD CAD was one of them that I knew about. Nice. I think it was on Awanda that I had it. Um, Although I think the TP was above here. Anyways, let's not get into the bot, which is the Forex, which I cannot offer to you guys anyways. I'll maybe try to get that set up later. So the system, again, I didn't even need to check in today. I'm just kind of reviewing for you guys. Doing it once a week is plenty, or just every once in a while saying, again, most of what I'm doing is thinking I might have an opportunity in June, but I might not even have a chance to make a trade until July, and it's May right now. So what am I going to do with the rest of the time? Well, today I mentioned that I was touching grass. Well, I was working on a sanding, like a physical labor job. I was sanding out a pool from one of the Kennedys, literal Kennedys, like John F. Kennedys, which is a good connection. I actually think, I personally like to have a combination of physical labor jobs and intellectual jobs. So I actually like physical labor. I like landscaping. I like organic farming, and I like handyman work. But at the same time, I like running business. I like trading. I like working with people, tours, content, and so on. And I really like to mix those together for novelty. And yeah, I don't care if it's like some of the work I do is low status or it doesn't pay great, and some of the work I do is high status and pays excellent. I just want to do what's fun and is novel and makes interesting days. And I like the mix of physical labor and intellectual work. And that's also why I started an adventure tour guide business. And I did my first tour this week, which was a lot of fun. If you're ever on Oahu, hire me. I'll don't rent a car. I'll pick you up and I'll show you all the spots, especially if you're into hiking. But yeah, this is the system. I gave you the basics of it, but I'm not going to give you the indicator. And not only am I going to have an indicator, I'm going to make it even have an indicator. I'm going to make it even easier. The indicator that's being developed, which but should be here soon, is going to have um, it's going to have actual buy signals that it puts on the chart with the stop loss, a suggested stop. And I think that's so important because one, it just saves time. And two, almost every indicator that I've seen that gives you buy and sell indicators, doesn't put a stop loss on the chart for you, or doesn't tell you where your stop loss should be. I've been ditched some really great indicator groups because, hey, like you told me to buy, but you didn't give me a stop, and price is down 50%, and I see people held, and I got out with a stop. So our indicator is a stop. If you're interested in the whole system and you're interested in the with the indicator, there's a link down below. If you click on it today, it's not out yet, but there's a form you can put in. You could put in your email and phone where when it's out within the next week or two, I'll message you and say, hey, if you're interested, here's where it is. And it costs money, but I'm going to show you as well like a version of it that is not just an indicator, but is also a Pine Script strategy tester. What that means is you'll be able to see, like, play with the parameters and see how much profit or loss it creates on TradingView. And that's important because I want to show you guys that, hey, it actually works. And two, so that you can stick with it. Because if you know it works, it's easy to stick with. So hope you found that helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the other side. Much love and peace.